Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Moyna Bass Fishes. I am Jim Moyna, professional bass fisherman. In this video, I just want to bring up something I am questioning, I'm confused about regarding Bass Pro Tour requalification for 2025. Now, I'm not in the Bass Pro Tour, but it's of an interest to me because I've always, every year when when the end of the year comes, I'm always looking at next year and always wondering what circuit I should fish. So, like for this year, I'm fishing Bassmaster Opens. That doesn't mean I might try to go back to the invitationals and try to qualify for the Bass Pro Tour next year. It all depends on a lot of things, but that's not what this video is about. I'm just questioning something about the Bass Pro Tour requalification for the people that are already in it. And that would be, and this all stems from a podcast I was watching yesterday. It was the Bass Talk Live podcast with Matt Pangrant, and his guest was Matt Stefan, one of my Bridge for Foods teammates. Because Matt fished the Bass Pro Tour this year, and he did not requalify for next year, unfortunately. But during the course of that podcast, they got into that subject, and they went through it. And Matt tried to explain how it all, how the requalification works. It's different from rookies to veterans, and there's other guys. I mean, and guys that weren't fishing it that jumped back in, kind of affected things, and by the end of it, I was totally confused. I didn't totally understand any of it. It wasn't clear to me. So, because on one hand, it seemed like, well, somebody drops out, because supposedly Matt missed it by one spot. So if somebody retires, then they just go down to the next spot, which seems like it was Matt, but he explained that ain't how it works. It's like everybody goes back into it. I'm not going to try to explain it because I don't get it. So what I did is I'm like, well, I'll just go to the official rules that are published on MajorLeagueFishing.com. So I went to the official rules, and it's a lengthy rule book. So I went through it. I went through the whole thing, and I never came across requalification for the next year in the whole official rules. And I'm like, well, this is so lengthy. I must have just overpassed it, because I wasn't going word for word. I was just going from caption to, head caption, to caption, or not caption, but the, what am I trying to say? The headline, the whatever. Here's the bold print, and then here's the fine print. So I was just going bold print to bold print to bold print. Then I'd scan some of the fine print if it looked like the bold print might lead into it. But I never came across it. So now I'm like, okay, well, let's go through it all again. And we'll go be a little more meticulous the second time through, and we'll find it. Well, I went through it the second time through, and I still didn't find the requalification criteria for 2000, what did you have to do in 2024 to ensure a spot in the 2025 field for the Bass Pro Tour? I did not find that in their official rules. So I had no way of knowing. And I don't know what Matt Steffen, I don't know what, I couldn't understand what he was saying. I actually watched another podcast, two other ones they were basically reading out the lists of who didn't make it for 2025. And I'm like, well, how do they got these lists, and how did they come up with these lists? So I'm just feel like I'm totally out of the loop on this. I don't get it. If it's not in the official rules, then how can it be in the official rule? How do they decide? How do they decide this? Because it wasn't in the official rules that was published on MajorLeagueFishing.com. Is this like a secret thing that they want to keep secret so nobody really knows except for the pros? Did they share this with the pros in the field? Did they share this but kept it from the public? I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's another example of just kind of a just it's another example of not be fully transparent with what you're doing. And unfortunately, MLF has kind of been struggling with that the last few years. Hopefully, they figure it out. They got a really cool they got the Bass Pro Tours, a really cool format. I like following what they're doing. It'd be fun to fish it, but the PR thing, they gotta. I mean, that's not what this video is about. It's just I'm just confused how they come up with their reef. Why won't it just? I mean, I do understand. Okay, I do understand that they wanted to reduce the field in 2025 from 80 to 65. And I also do understand originally they wanted to go from 80 to 50 for next year, but enough anglers complained that they decided they make it a 2-year step down instead of all in 1 year. So it's going to be 65 in 2025 and then 50 in 2026, I guess it would be. So, which brings me back to why? I mean, the way Matt Steffens made it sound like is there are different depending on who you were, affected whether or not you're requalified, and by that I mean depending who you were. If you were a rookie, your requalifications were different than the guys that have been on there for a few years. So, and I don't know, is that really a fair way to do it? I mean, should each angler be on the same, be held to the same level of performance to requalify? That makes sense. It just I don't know. I mean, they were talking about the pros the veterans that have been on the Bass Pro Tour. They go by like an average, a career average, whereas the rookies had. I don't understand it. I just know they had a career average for the veterans, and the rookies had to whatever for this year. So why couldn't they take the rookies' career average, but take this year in the Bass Pro Tour, but then the last couple years, the years that they spent in the MLF Invitationals and factor those in. I don't know. That wouldn't really be fair either. I mean, that wouldn't be an equal comparison. So I'm not suggesting how they do it, but just tell us how they came up with this, because that's not in the official rules. And if it's not in the official rules, that means that they can go in and manipulate it whenever they want, if you ask me. So I don't know, can they? Because they have done that. But all right, well that's all I got to say about that. Just transparency, man. Transparency. That's I mean, you got to have that. People got to know what they're signing up for. They got to know what they're getting into. I mean, when you put that kind of money down, you want to know all the corners of you want to have all the dark corners of whatever it is lit. You don't want to have any shadows that are unlit, that are maybe, what is that? What is that? You want the room fully lit so you can see everything. You know everything. You can factor in everything into your decisions of what you're going to do. That's all I got to say on this lovely frickin' evening. God, I love it. I love it. I love it, man. This was no bugs. I'm not hot. It's like 68. I don't even think it's 68. It's about 60, less than 68 degrees. Freaking not a single boat out here right now. It's just a few seagulls and me yapping out on this dock. My boat's right over there on the trailer. Right over there. Because it's going to Leech Lake tomorrow for the Bass Open, which is an hour from here. I can't wait. I am camping over there because I'd rather not spend an hour in the morning driving there and then an hour in the evening driving back for 8 days in a row. I'd rather not do that. It's just easier to just set up over there right on the lake, and it's really not it's not really going to cost me much extra because the campground fees are what, $30 or whatever, that where I'm staying per night, and I'm sure I'd probably be spending that in gas for my truck every day driving back and forth. So anyhow, I just love this beautiful day. All right, that's all I got to say. Over. Thanks.